He just looked me dead in my eyes, and what I saw back terrified me. What I was looking back at absolutely terrified me. Gucci Mane is the boogeyman of hip hop. He is the boogeyman. And instead of boo, he says brr.
He needs to be in the ground. What is supposed to be? He tried.
I don't got no respect for him. I just, you know what I'm saying?
Ignore.
I did what I had to do. I ain't nobody a legend. You see somebody kill me, you think I'm gonna call you a legend?
True.
What's a legend about that?
The beef between Gucci Mane and Young Jeezy was one of the most intense and deadly to ever come out of the Atlanta rap scene. Word is, Jeezy allegedly put a bounty on Gucci's head, but not only did Gucci literally handle the threat head on, he walked away a free man and later even mocked Jeezy over the whole thing, pretty much sealing the win.
He needs to be in the ground. Put his where he supposed to be. He tried.
Let's dive in. Now, the exact reason behind the beef between Gucci Mane and Young Jeezy has always been a little murky. Over the years, both rappers have told different versions of how it all went down, and depending on who you ask, the story shifts a bit. But if there's one consistent thread in all the back and forth, it's the now legendary track So Icy. For anyone who doesn't know, So Icy was a breakout hit for both Gucci Mane and Young Jeezy. That record didn't just get radio spins, it helped launch both of their careers, especially in the Atlanta scene around 2005. Back then, Jeezy was just starting to make waves in the city. This was before his classic Trap or Die mixtape dropped and turned him into a trap icon. Gucci, on the other hand, was grinding heavy trying to get his name out by any means. Enter Zaytoven, the producer behind So Icy. Zay had already been working closely with Gucci and saw potential in the kid, but he also knew Jeezy had the streets buzzing, so he had an idea. Bring both rappers together for a collaboration that could make noise for everybody involved. Zaytoven pitched the idea to Gucci first. Gucci was all in, so Zay picked him up, brought him to his crib, and they got to work on the beat. Gucci laid his part down, and they cooked up what would soon be a certified hit. Not long after that, Jeezy pulled up to Zay's spot, heard the song, and liked it so much he jumped on it too. At the time, it was just another song. No one could have guessed it would turn into a hit that would change their lives and spark one of hip-hop's deadliest beefs. Fast forward a little, So Icy starts blowing up. Both Gucci and Jeezy are prepping to drop their debut albums. Gucci's working on Trap House, while Jeezy's finishing up Thug Motivation 101. Naturally, both of them wanted that hit song on their album. Here's where things got shaky. Even though both Gucci and Jeezy have publicly denied fighting over the song, to everyone on the outside looking in, it looked like that's exactly what happened. In the end, So Icy landed on Gucci's Trap House album and not on Jeezy's Thug Motivation 101. And the biggest issue was that it wasn't even the decision itself, it was how it all went down. From Jeezy's side, he felt like there was no communication. One day the song is out, and next thing he knows, it's sitting on Gucci's album with no heads up. That move rubbed Jeezy the wrong way. He felt played, disrespected. And in hip-hop, when you feel like someone's crossed you, there's only one way to respond: the booth. So Jeezy dropped a diss track called Stay Strapped, and he came for Gucci's neck. He didn't sugarcoat anything. The most infamous line from that track was, "I got a bounty on that ish, dude, 10 stacks. So if he come to your town and you just happen to snatch that mother F off his neck, I'ma shoot you the 10 stack, man, so I can cremate that mother F." When Jeezy dropped Stay Strapped in May 2005, it blew the whole thing wide open. Fans couldn't lie, the track was fire. From the menacing beat to Jeezy's cold delivery, he came with real venom. But the part that really had people talking, the part that crossed a line for many, was when Jeezy put a $10,000 bounty on Gucci's chain. See, in rap beefs, diss tracks are expected. A little name-calling, some hard bars, it's all part of the game. But once you start offering money to have somebody's chain snatched, especially in a place like Atlanta where things can turn deadly real fast, that's when the gloves come off. And it wasn't just about jewelry. The streets knew what that bounty really implied. Snatching Gucci's chain could easily turn into something way more violent. And with Jeezy's name being tied to BMF, the infamous Black Mafia family, that only raised the stakes. BMF were a powerful organization with deep ties to the streets and millions moving through the trade. Jeezy being connected to them gave him a certain weight, so that 10K offer felt like a green light. But here's the thing, Gucci Mane wasn't no pushover. He had his own street credibility and wasn't new to danger. So when that track dropped, Gucci didn't just sit back. He came with heat of his own. Just a few weeks later, still in May 2005, he fired back with Round 1, his diss track aimed straight at Jeezy. From the very beginning of the track, Gucci didn't hold back. Before the beat even drops, he kicks things off with, "That dude, Young Jeezy, man, that dude fake." And in the chorus, he made it crystal clear this wasn't going to be a one-off. "This is round 1 of Gucci Mane versus Jeezy," he declared, but right when everyone thought it might stay on wax, things took a dark and dangerous turn. On May 10th, 2005, just days after all this back and forth, Gucci was at a woman's house in Decatur, chilling, not knowing what was about to go down. According to reports that night, 5 men burst into the house and ambushed him.
He visited a young lady, went over to her place. She was there, he was there. At one point, she opened up a door. 5 guys come running in.
They didn't just try to rob him, they allegedly started beating him down and even threatened to kill him. But Gucci wasn't the type to fold under pressure. Living up to the street persona he rapped about, he fought back. In the middle of the chaos, he managed to grab a gun and start firing. Shots rang out. In the scuffle, one of the attackers was hit, and the rest ran off. The woman at the house reportedly fled too, terrified.
Another guy had a weapon, hit one of the other guys with a weapon. It became a situation where he defended himself.
The man who got shot, he turned out to be Henry Pookie Lock Lee Clark III, a rapper affiliated with Jeezy's crew and someone Jeezy reportedly grew up with. Days later, Pookie Lock's body was found behind Columbia Middle School in Decatur. The aftermath hit hard, word spread like wildfire, and the situation instantly went from rap beef to real-life tragedy. Gucci Mane became the center of a murder investigation. Not long after, a warrant was issued for his arrest and Gucci turned himself in. He was officially charged with murder. While sitting in jail, Gucci called in for a phone interview to tell his side. "I just want everybody to know I'm not a murderer," he said. "I was upset, scared a little bit, but I had to do what I had to do. You gotta be a man about it. I'm not a bad person. I have remorse for everything that happened." Meanwhile, Jeezy tried to distance himself from the whole ordeal. Even though Pookie Lock was part of his camp and someone he had history with, Jeezy denied having any involvement in the attempted attack. He brushed it off like Gucci was using the incident for clout, trying to sell records off the drama. And in a way, both sides were living completely different lives. Gucci was locked up facing a murder charge, his career on pause. Meanwhile, Jeezy was outside, riding the wave of success. Fast forward to January 17th, 2006, and Gucci Mane finally went to trial. His defense was simple. It was self-defense. He testified that the men had broken into his home, attacked him, and threatened to off him. A key witness, likely the female friend, backed up his story. The court ruled in Gucci's favor, and he was acquitted of all charges. By the time Gucci got out, nearly a year had passed. Most people assumed the beef had died down, especially after everything that had happened. But Gucci surprised everyone when he went back to the studio and dropped a diss track called 745. This song reignited the tension, as Gucci took shots at Jeezy again. "Do I smell pee? Nah, that's Jeezy. You ain't a snowman. You more like a snowflake, cupcake, cornflake. Dude, you too fake." Fans couldn't believe Gucci would go there, especially after his legal battle. But the track was fire, and it seemed like Gucci wasn't ready to let things go. Jeezy, however, decided not to respond. For a moment, it seemed like things might settle down. But then, 2 years later in 2008, Gucci teamed up with DJ Drama, a close friend and collaborator of Jeezy's, to release a Gangsta Grillz mixtape called The Movie. This move didn't sit well with Jeezy. Drama and Jeezy had made history together with their iconic mixtapes, so Drama working with Gucci felt like a betrayal. Drama, however, always maintained that he wasn't picking sides. He saw himself as neutral, refusing to get caught up in the drama between the two rappers. By January 12, 2009, the tension between Jeezy and DJ Drama reached a boiling point. That night, at a screening for the movie Notorious, Jeezy and Drama's entourages ran into each other and things popped off. The crews clashed, turning the event into a chaotic scene. This was just months after Jeezy publicly dissed Drama, calling him a cornball and a B for working with Gucci Mane. The tension between all sides was bubbling over. A few months later, on June 15, 2009, Jeezy reignited the beef on wax by dropping the track 24/23. In the song, Jeezy took direct shots at Gucci, making it clear the issues weren't resolved, with lines like, "I'm on some Louis-ish F Gucci Mane. These dudes still on my D. They like some groupies Mane. Can't keep they lips closed. They worse than cookies Mane." Fans were bracing for Gucci to respond, but surprisingly, he didn't. For a while, it seemed like the beef might simmer down again. Then, in a shocking turn of events, on December 4th, 2009, Gucci Mane announced a collaboration with Jeezy. The announcement caught everyone off guard. Nobody thought the two could ever set their differences aside, especially given how violent things had gotten. Gucci, who was locked up at the time, called into a radio station alongside DJ Drama to declare a truce. During the call, Gucci said, "It's way bigger than all of us. The city has been supporting us and they deserve this. We're getting older, growing up, so let's do it for the city." The news was a major surprise, and fans were cautiously optimistic. The two released the track Trap or Die 2, and it was well received. Gucci even went on Big Boy's Neighborhood on December 15th, 2009, doubling down on the truce and promising more music with Jeezy. For a moment, it seemed like peace was finally possible. But of course, things didn't stay quiet for long. On March 4th, 2010, Gucci and Jeezy weren't even present when their entourages clashed again, this time resulting in a brawl. Reports say Waka Flocka, who was still establishing his own career but widely seen as Gucci Mane's enforcer, was involved. Waka ended up leaving the fight with a black eye, reportedly courtesy of Slick Pula, one of Jeezy's artists. This fight reignited the beef, even though neither Gucci nor Jeezy had been directly involved. It's a classic scenario in hip-hop beefs. Often, it's the people around the artists who escalate situations. The artists themselves usually have bigger things to focus on, like their careers, but the actions of their crews can pull them back into drama. Surprisingly, after this altercation, things stayed relatively quiet for about a year and a half. No diss tracks were exchanged, and there were no more public incidents. Then, on August 11th, 2011, Gucci Mane officially closed the door on any hope of reconciliation. In an interview, he said, "I can't see myself ever rapping with Jeezy again. It's not something that's repairable. We did what we did, and we can just coexist without crossing paths." Months later, Jeezy appeared on MTV's Rap Fix Live on December 11th, 2011. During an interview with Sway, he was asked about the origins of his beef with Gucci and whether it could be repaired. Jeezy dropped a surprising revelation. He claimed the beef started because Gucci was upset that Jeezy didn't perform So Icy with him. Jeezy explained that at the time he was undergoing throat surgery, which he hadn't told anyone about, not even his label. According to Jeezy, this misunderstanding snowballed into the infamous feud. Fans were left wondering if this was the full truth or if Jeezy was trying to rewrite the narrative. Either way, Gucci had a very different perspective. In 2012, Gucci Mane appeared on The Breakfast Club and made it clear he had zero respect for Jeezy. When Charlemagne asked about squashing the beef or recognizing each other as legends, Gucci didn't hold back. "I can't look at him as a legend," Gucci said. "He tried to off me."
Now you guys respectfully ignore each other.
I don't got no respect for him. I just, you know what I'm saying?
Ignore.
I did what I had to do. I ain't nobody a legend. You see somebody kill me, you think I'm gonna call you a legend?
True.
What's a legend about that?
This was during a period when Gucci was going off the rails. He was making headlines for his erratic behavior, going on wild Twitter rants, and dissing anyone in his path. Gucci himself admitted during the interview that he felt like something bad was going to happen if he didn't go to jail, whether to himself or someone else. 2 days after Gucci's explosive Breakfast Club interview, Jeezy appeared on Big Boy's Neighborhood to respond. He downplayed the situation, saying, "Man, everybody knows that boy is ain't nobody taking him serious. He got an ice cream cone on his face. Let's be real, I'm not going back, I'm going forward." Jeezy's tone was dismissive, making it clear he wasn't interested in reigniting the beef.
I feel like, everybody know that boy, man. Nobody taking him seriously, man. Damn. He got an ice cream cone on his face, man. Let's be for real.
But Gucci felt differently. He took to the studio and dropped one of the most infamous diss tracks in hip-hop history, The Truth. Gucci aired out everything he had to say about Jeezy, sparing no details. One of the most infamous lines from the track was, "A $10,000 bounty put on my neck. I hope you didn't pay them, because they didn't have no success." Gucci didn't hold back. He aired everything out, from accusations of Jeezy getting robbed to questioning his parenting. He even dragged R&B singer Keisha Cole into the drama, claiming Jeezy was in love with her while she was allegedly with other men, though Keisha later denied these claims. It was a diss track that didn't just attack Jeezy's career, but aimed to humiliate him on a personal level. To his credit, Jeezy chose not to respond with another diss track, a decision many saw as wise. At the time, Gucci Mane was going through a tumultuous period. He was heavily into drugs and was increasingly erratic, making him unpredictable and even more dangerous as an adversary. Gucci was also escalating the feud in other ways, such as publicly betting $100,000 that he could beat Jeezy in a fight. Shortly after this, in 2014, Gucci Mane pleaded guilty to possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and was sentenced to 2 years in prison. This marked a turning point. During his time in prison, Gucci seemed to reflect on his life and his choices. When he was released in 2016, he emerged a different man, physically leaner, mentally sharper, and more at peace. In a December 2016 interview on The Breakfast Club, Gucci spoke about his perspective on beefs, including his issues with Jeezy and T.I. He explained that while he didn't consider it active beef anymore, he also had no interest in pretending to be friends. "We ain't got nothing to speak about," he said. "You do your thing, I do mine. We ain't got to be at odds, but at the same time, I don't want to slap your hand. I don't want to speak." For a while, the feud remained cold. But in April 2020, Gucci stirred the pot again by sharing a comedic recreation of his infamous confrontation with Pookie Lock on Instagram. The video mocked the situation, and Gucci's caption, "But for real though," accompanied by laughing emojis, reignited chatter about the beef. Later that year, in July 2020, Jeezy appeared on T.I.'s podcast Expeditiously and discussed the possibility of ending the feud. Jeezy acknowledged that it would require a private, serious conversation, likening it to a mafia backroom conversation. He also recognized the business potential in squashing their long-standing issues, saying, "What I've learned over the years is that it's big business. People that went to Yale still do business with people that went to Harvard." By September 2020, the idea of a Verzuz Battle between Gucci Mane and Jeezy gained traction. The series, which brought artists together for friendly competition celebrating their careers, seemed like the perfect stage for the two to finally put their history behind them. Initially, Jeezy revealed that Gucci had respectfully declined to participate in a Verzuz Battle during an interview on The Breakfast Club. But just a few months later, in November 2020, fans were shocked when it was announced that Gucci Mane and Jeezy would face off in a Verzuz Battle. The event was one of the most anticipated in the series' history given their violent and turbulent past. The battle itself was intense, with both rappers playing some of their biggest hits. But the moment that shocked everyone was when Gucci performed The Truth, his 2012 diss track targeting Jeezy and referencing the killing of Pookie Lock.
"Put that in the dirt.
I tell you what.
Smoking on Pookie Lock tonight."
Many saw it as a bold and inflammatory move, and Gucci faced criticism for bringing up such a painful chapter in their history during what was supposed to be a celebration of their careers. Since then, the beef between Gucci Mane and Jeezy has remained dormant, and fans hope it stays that way.